Gio.
BT and Sal.
Kevin and Tiki. Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
As I fix my settings, because I did not do that before. It's another episode of WFAN Daily with, yes, Pete Hoffman, and I am watching the ninth inning live with you. There's already one out for this Yankees Red Sox wild card game. David Bednar is on the mound up against Yoshida. There's a one pitch, bounces to second base, Jazz Chisholm, and he gets thrown out. There's 2 outs now to go. It is a 2-1 Red Sox lead, and this was the worry the entire game for game one. It's Max Fried versus Garrett Crochet. Everybody knows this is the best matchup of the playoffs. Like, 2 of the best pitchers out there, 2 aces, two guys going for the Cy Young, and Max Fried and Garrett Crochet went back and forth, and Garrett Crochet coughed one up first. He gave up a solo home run to, out of all people, Anthony Volpe, and that was awesome, and it gave the Yankees a 1-0 lead, but Max Fried was only able to go 6 1/3 innings. So they go to the bullpen, and they go pick up and bring in Luke Weaver, who I don't think at this point in time is a top reliever for them. Like, I think that Luke Weaver, we've seen, has been very shaky as of late. There's been better pitchers, and you need to go to your better pitchers. You have a one-run lead. This is a 3-game series, a 1-run lead. You're going up against Garrett Crochet, who's still in the game. It's the 7th inning. You go to your best relievers, and instead they go to Luke Weaver. And Luke Weaver does what he does. Doesn't get an out, which is highly disappointing. You know, if we go through that inning of again, it's the 7th inning. You have a situation where, let's see, who were the players? As right now, there's now a man on first base as a solo single by Trevor Story, and people are bugging out upstairs right now. My kids are bugging out right now, so I apologize. Otherwise, I'd be screaming at them. And if you hear those noises, it sounded like a loud thump. That could be anything. It could be the dog. It could be the kids. Probably the kids, though. That's what I'm gonna guess. all right. Bregman's obviously up right now. So Garrett Crochet goes 7 2/3 innings. Unbelievable. But here we go. This is the top of the 7th. Luke Weaver comes in after free ground, gets Duran to ground out. So, like, I understand how many pitches does Fried have? 102, but it's the playoffs. It's the wild card. You have to be able to go deeper into the game. 102 pitches is nothing. And as Trevor Story right now in front of us just steals a base. So now it's a man on second base. I don't know what the count is, but was he getting in there in time? I think he did. Ooh, I don't know. It's close. See, this is where replay is like you slow it down. So Jazz looks like he came with the take. No, he's safe. Okay. It's so close by like a millisecond. But either way, Trevor Story gets in there. It's a 2-1 pitch coming up to Alex Bregman, but Story's on second base right now. This is an insurance run right here. This to help him out. It's a 2-1 ball game in the top of the 9th, as I said. But Jarren Duran comes up, grounds out to Max Fried at 102 pitches. They pulled Max Fried, who honestly could have gone more. Like, that's unless Fried's telling you to take him out, you keep on going. And Luke Weaver comes in and he walks Rafaela. Nick Sogard gets a double, which they run off of Aaron Judge. And then, like, listen, I talked to Manuel yesterday on the podcast, and he was saying that, like, Judge has been working on his throws, and he can make those throws, and when need to, he will be able to gun or run around if you need to. Like, he should be able to make those throws. But, Sogard realizes he hits the ball that Judge is fielding, he's going to take the extra base, and he does. And he puts himself in a position to now, rather than be first and third, to second and third. And then Yoshida comes in to hit for Ref Schneider and basically pinpoint the exact same spot that Sogard hits a double, Yoshida hits a double, and it's a 2-1 lead from there on. And then they pull Weaver, Cruz comes in, strikes out Trevor Story, walks Bregman, and then Nathaniel Lowe lines out. What was that about? But bad sequence in the seventh inning. A couple of things. Luke Weaver, like I said, should not have been pitching that inning. And then this is maybe a tougher decision to make. Does Aaron Judge play right field in the later parts of the innings? Now, he did make a good catch. The Nathaniel Lowe, he hit a line drive that Judge had to go back on, and he made that catch, so that was important. But if he's not going to be able to make those throws, and they're going to run on him, and that's a big spot right there. And there's an insurance run. Alex Bregman, RBI double. Does he make it the second? He does. And an RBI double as Bregman hits a shot to left field, rolls back to the wall. Bellinger plays it off. Story scores, and Bregman's now sitting at second base. Not for nothing. I mean, that could have happened anyway, but this would have been a different situation. It would have been a 1-1 game. Now it's 2-1. Now it's 3-1. This game's pretty much out of hand as Crochet went back out there for the seventh inning and went back out there in the eighth inning. And eventually he did get pulled at the end of the with 7 2/3. He gets Bellinger to pop out, and then he gets Stanton to ground out. No, that was the seventh inning. What would he do in the eighth inning? Right. He strikes out Grisham, strikes out Wells. That's what he did. Oh, Marron. As they're bringing in Tim Hill now. Here we go. This is going to be a problem. But the Wells at-bat was frustrating because he was just missing pitches. He just missed the call that Wells got. Now, again, this umpire has been very strict with his strike zone. There was a pitch that Devin Williams, I thought you could have given him a strike. Instead, he got called the ball, and he ended up walking Carlos Narvaez. And it was right there, just missed. I think it was an outside pitch, and he didn't call it. Okay, fine. But he's been fair because that Austin Wells pitch just missed, and he called it a ball. However, the strike three was right down the plate, bottom, inside pitch, but it hit the corner, no doubt about it, and he strikes out looking, and that was frustrating. And then they finally pull Wells, and Chapman comes in. Mind you, in between they did Volpe did get a base hit, but Chapman comes in. Volpe goes to second base on a balk as they continue to try to pick him off. It wasn't happening. I'm not sure if that was just for Chapman to feel more comfortable, if that was purposeful, but whatever. And then Caballero flies out. And now here we are with, it was 2-1 at that point in time. And now you're 3-1 in a spot where Tim Hill's coming in to pitch to get you out of this jam with, Bregman on at second base after just got an RBI double. 3-1. Is it Nathaniel Lowe up again? Listen, this was the game that everyone circled that said the Yankees, if they can find a way to beat Crochet, they definitely won the series. Now they still have 2 more games at home. Is it tough to win back-to-back games in a 3-game series? Of course it is. Can it be done? Obviously. I mean, teams do it all the time. So yes, teams sweep 3-game series. They should be able to win 2 in a row. Shouldn't be the end of the world. But to now have the pressure on you, must win 2 nights in a row. Let's see if the Yankees are going to be able to do that if they don't pull this out here. And you're talking about who's going to be up next for the Yankees. As was it Caballero made the last out, so you have the good thing is you got the top of the order. I mean, you have Goldschmidt, Judge, Bellinger, and Stanton if you get that far. I mean, you're talking about 1 through 4. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to have. It's an 0-2 pitch from Tim Hill, and Nathaniel Lowe fouls it off. I mean, these playoff games get so stressful. But that was already an early second guess. First guess, second guess, The first guess is, why are you taking out Max Fried? The second guess is, should you have taken out Aaron Judge for defensive purposes? And that's why it's almost, okay, Nathaniel Lowe pops up to center field to get out of the inning. Okay, fine. It's now going to the bottom of the ninth. Chapman's still in there. As Chapman pitched the last inning to get out, or got the last out of the last inning. So he's looking to get a 4-out save, and we will see him versus Goldschmidt, Judge, and Bellinger. Right now, combined 2 for 9 on the day. Stanton, if he gets up, he's 0 for 3. So those guys together are 2 for 4. I mean, Garrett Crochet had an amazing day. And this is the problem. Garrett Crochet, you knew was going to bring his ace-like stuff, and so did Fried. But Crochet was almost able to get 8 full innings. He went 7 2/3, 4 hits. 4 hits, that's it. Gave up that 1 home run to Volpe, and that was it. Besides that, he gave up 3 singles. He gave up the hit to Goldschmidt, a hit to Judge, and then the other hit to Volpe. And that's it. So 7 2/3, 4 hits, one earned run off the home run, 11 strikeouts. I mean, at 170 pitches. That's what you want. Now, Fried, on the other hand, too, he kept it tight. He was right there. He went 6 1/3. I mean, that's a difference of 5 outs, if my math is correct. 5 outs, or maybe 4 outs. 4 outs. 4 freaking outs, but still, big difference. 4 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, only 102 pitches compared to the 117 that Crochet pitched. I think that you could have put, second guess is, I think you could have put left Fried in there, and definitely not to go to Weaver. That's the first guess. Like, Weaver was the one guy you should not have put in there. I would have put Cruz in there. I would have put Williams in there. I would not have gone Luke Weaver at that point in time. And there was no runners on. It wasn't like you're putting somebody in a sloppy position. Yes, there's already an out. Go finish the inning if you're going to do that, but don't need to go to Weaver. And unfortunately, Weaver had a bad day, and he's been having bad days as of recent. I mean, you want to talk about game logs? Well, actually, since September 17th, he's been pitching rather good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 appearances, 0 runs. But he had that game in Minnesota, gave up 5 runs in the third. 2 games before that, September 10th versus Detroit, 3 runs in the third innings. He gave up a run to Houston, gave up another run to Houston. You know, in the month of August, he wasn't all that good. So it's like, Devin Williams is more lights out. That was the way to go. All right, here we go. So it's Paul Goldschmidt versus Aroldis Chapman. He had 3 through 6 pitches last inning. 6 pitches, that's it. And mind you, talk about after a crappy inning from Luke Weaver to give up the lead in the 7th inning, the Yankees did the Red Sox a favor by only seeing 6 pitches and getting 3 outs versus Garrett Crochet. So they allowed him, not only did they not work the counts, they saw 6 pitches and allowed Crochet to get through that 7th inning in 6 pitches to then go to the 8th inning. So that, again, talk about not a good approach to get this guy out, unfortunately. So it's Goldschmidt, it's Judge, it's Bellinger. It's a 1-1 count. Listen, the one thing they talked about Chapman this year, which was totally unbelievable, I don't have the quote in front of me, but I'll find it later on, is that Aroldis Chapman and was it Carlos Narvaez? Am I saying his name wrong again? I probably am. I always am. And there you go. A leadoff single by Paul Goldschmidt, who is now 2 for 4 today. So how about that? How about that? The top of the 9th, Paul Goldschmidt, a leadoff single, and now Aaron Judge is up. It's a 3-1 lead, but the tying run is now at the plate with no outs, and Aroldis Chapman is pitching. But let's see the first pitch here before I lose track. As the kids are clapping upstairs, single up the middle, runners on first and second, no outs. Hey, listen, kill him by singles. That's all you got to do. Just keep making contact. Keep making contact. They almost scored off of Crochet in the first inning. They didn't, but they were getting base hits by just Goldschmidt and Judge jumping on early pitches versus Crochet in the first inning. They didn't score, but that's what they were. That was the approach. Now Chapman, the same thing in the ninth. They're just being aggressive, and Bellinger is up. No outs, a runner on first and second. Bellinger drops in. Did they send him? They did not send him. All right. Here we go. 3 straight singles. You got Goldschmidt single. You got Judge single. You got Bellinger single. And now you got my boy, our boy, Giancarlo Stanton. Listen, I love Stanton. I don't care. You may know me as a Met fan. I don't care. Giancarlo Stanton's one of my favorite players of all time. I love watching him bat. He just smashes the baseball. And this is his spot, man. Bases loaded, no outs. Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, he could send one to the wall. He could either hit a home run. He could hit a bases clearing double. He could hit a pop fly to score a run. Listen, you need 2 runs right now. Don't get into a double play. That is the one thing you do not want to do, is get into a double play. Now, this is the thing I want to talk about before we get any further, was that Carlos Narvaez, the catcher, and Chapman, they figured out he never knew how to locate his fastball. He never thought to locate his fastball. He just wheel back and throw. And that was the one thing that changed this year. If you look at his numbers, it was amazing how good he was this season. And it's because they located his fastball. His pitch that was extremely wild. Oh, Stanton. 100 miles per hour heater right over, just the top of the plate. Stanton check swing, fouls it off. Count is 0-1. Again, no outs, bases loaded. Now, if you're watching live with me, this is awesome. If you're listening, maybe you should go back and watch the game and put this on at the same time. And if not, so be it. Stanton swings through a strike. 0-2 on Giancarlo Stanton. The one quote that I remember for Stanton, I think was it last year or 2 years ago, was they asked him why he's so good in the playoffs. He goes, you got to step it up. That's time to step up. Career with bases loaded, he's batting .323 with 11 home runs. 0-2 pitch, fouls off a sinker, 101 mile per hour sinker. Holy smack. This is, you can't ask for anything more for the Yankees. This is the exact spot. And all it took was to get Garrett Crochet out of the game. And you're already in this spot where the Yankees' biggest issue, this was the biggest concern, is hitting an ace. Tariq Skubal just showed how an ace can just shut down any offense. It doesn't make a difference. Stanton is such a beast. Let's see what happens. Here we go. 0-2 pitch. Giancarlo Stanton. Chapman with the pitch. Oh, he threw a splitter, 92 mile per hour, and just swung through it. All right. 1 down. You got Rosario coming up. Well, sorry, Chisholm's coming up. Chisholm came in for Rosario. So let us see lefty on lefty here. I don't think they're replacing. Here we go. Spit up we go. All right, Jazzy's up. First pitch swing and foul ball, 101 miles per hour. That's nuts. Fouls it off. My wife is calling. All right, so it's a bases loaded 0-1 pitch to Jazz Chisholm. Again, 1 out as Stanton just struck out. Jazz Chisholm looks at strike 2 right over the plate. Don't look back at the umpire. He's been so good all game, at least to me. He's been caught that caught the inside corner. Yeah, that's clearly over the plate. He caught it. It was right over there. A little bit on the outside, but still got totally right over the plate. Got everything and more. 0-2 pitch to Jazz Chisholm. Fouls it off. Got to put that thing in play. Listen, again, don't ground out. No double plays here. I don't think they're playing back anymore. They might have been playing back before. They might have been playing They might have been playing up before, but there's no reason to. They could turn a double play and end this game right here. So I don't think the defense is playing to go home. I think it's a double play. That's what they're looking for. Or a strikeout by Chapman, one or the other. All right. Jazz is back in. Chapman's back in. You can't make this up. For the first game of the playoffs, baseball playoffs are freaking unbelievable. We were watching the Detroit Tigers and the Guardians before. It was a crazy game. Chapman, that ball is popped out to right field, but that should be able to score a run. Do they send them? Does Goldschmidt run? Goldschmidt doesn't even run. It's not deep enough. I think it was, but you can't risk the final out at home. You got one more shot. You need 2 runs. Goldschmidt's run really doesn't make a difference. If he's out, that's the game. You need 2 runs. Here's Trent Grisham. I mean, you talk about somebody who's been a hero all season long, and Trent Grisham comes up, bases loaded against Chapman. I mean, this is his spot. Let's go. 34 home runs, but he's been 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts today. 34 home runs on the season. Could he hit the biggest home run of the season in the postseason for Trent Grisham? First pitch to Trent. Watches ball 1. Listen, that's not a bad thing. Like, hey, if you let him walk in a run, that's fine. That's what, Chapman, that's what he's been known to do in these spots, is just walk people. I don't understand how he's been so much more accurate. And again, that's because he's been locating his pitches with his fastball, which is crazy to think that it took him almost 15 years to locate a pitch. Grisham swings and fouls back a fastball, 100 miles per hour. He's consistent, man. Unless these numbers are wrong, but consistently hitting 100. It's now 1-1 count, 21 pitches by Chapman. Obviously, he came in the 8th inning to get 1 out, had 6 strikes or 6 pitches there, and now we're looking to get. Ooh, that was tight, but he calls it a ball, up and in, just missing the top corner. And when you look at the review, if it was ABS, they might check that and see it was a strike. I mean, personally speaking, it looked like a strike. But again, umpire called it a ball. 2-1 pitch to Trent. I hate that. Slider right over. What was he looking for? I mean, I guess he's looking for fastball the whole time. But now it's a 2-2 pitch to Trent Grisham, and a lot on the line right here. Bases are loaded. They've been loaded. Stanton struck out. Chaz popped out to right, and a 2-2 pitch to Grisham. Foul tip. Inning over. Game over. Strikeout. Foul tips it into Navarro's glove, and that's it. That's disappointing. Wow. What a way to go out. Bases loaded, and you can't score a run. I mean, all you're doing is see, here's the problem, too. This is the other issue. I know Stan, listen, he's not looking for a base hit. He does the same thing every time. He's looking for a home run. But you're telling me, what is Jazz looking for? Jazz, all it needs to do is make contact. And this is the issue with baseball right now with a lot of these hitters, is it's an all or nothing thing. They're looking to just pop one in the seats. You got 3 batters to hit back-to-back-to-back base hits. Just put bat on ball. Don't need to kill and crush a home run. And, I mean, Jazz's contact is weak. He was just put his bat out there. Trent was looking to go deep probably, and Chapman strikes him out, and there you go. First game goes to Boston. That's disappointing. You had him on the ropes, but this was the whole thing. This was the whole point about this game was if you can find a way to get to Garrett Crochet, you're basically locking it up and winning this game. And Garrett Crochet did what he needed to do. He gave up a home run, a solo home run to Anthony Volpe. Besides that, 3 singles, when it goes 7 2/3 innings, does what he has to do, and pitches length. The Yankees did not help by, again, that 7th inning, only getting watching 6 pitches to get through that 7th inning to let Crochet go to the 8th inning, and then eventually it's 117 pitches for Crochet. Fried only got into the 7th as he goes 6 1/3, and that's the difference. Fried hands the ball off to Luke Weaver, who then goes and gives up 2 runs, and then even Bednar, gives up another insurance run too. If it was Let's put it this way. If Bednar doesn't give up that insurance run and it's 2-1, are they sending Paul Goldschmidt? I think you have to. I think you have to tie the game at that point in time. Yeah, because with 3-1, bases are loaded. 1 out at this point in time when Jazz pops a ball to right field. I know it's not deep, and I know that Goldschmidt doesn't run well. I'm not sitting here and tell you that he's freaking Jose Caballero and you put your head down and run. I know that Goldschmidt doesn't run well. But if it was 2-1 still, only a 1-run lead, and Jazz hits that ball to right field, and that's potentially 3 outs if you send them and he's out, but that's the tying run. You got to score that run. And Chapman, you thought you had him on the ropes, and you did, but he buckled down. Strikes out Stanton, Jazz pops out and then strikes out Grisham, and that is a disappointing way to lose Game 1 versus the Red Sox. I mean, and again, if you started the podcast with me earlier, again, we're doing this live, so if you're listening, you've probably heard this already, but now let's recap it again. The New York Yankees were up 1-0 for a majority of this game. Anthony Volpe hits an early home run, a solo home run in the second inning, and there's no scoring until that top of the 7th. In the first inning, where the Yankees had Crochet on the ropes, Goldschmidt singles, Judge singles, Bellinger strikes out, so you got first and second, and Stanton, unfortunately, hits into a double play. And that was basically that first scoring chance was huge. That backfired with runners in scoring position. It was a rough night. They didn't really get many runners in scoring position, but in the first inning and the last inning, they had runners where they wanted to be. That was the perfect situation. The first and the 9th inning was exactly where you wanted the Yankees to be, and they scored 0 runs. First and second, 1 out. Actually, it was first and second with no outs. Then Bellinger strikes out, but first and second, then with 1 out, and Stanton grounds out. And then in the 9th inning, you get bases loaded, no outs, single by Goldschmidt, Judge, and Bellinger, and that leads to nothing. But Volpe, with the solo home run, gave the Yankees the lead, and basically it was a pitching duel for 6-7 innings up until Fried came out. And again, I don't know about you, but to me, it's the wild card series. It's a short series. I'm almost like thinking like wild card game. When are you going to pull a pitcher in a wild card game? He's dealing. They're not hitting him. It's a clean. The bases are clean. It's the 7th inning, top of the 7th, at 6 1/3. Excuse me. It's 102 pitches, but go batter by batter. Then don't give the ball to the bullpen. The best pitcher's on the mound right now. It doesn't make a difference which bullpen arm you have, whether it's Devin Williams, whether it's David Bednar, whether it's who you brought in, Luke Weaver. The best pitcher on the New York Yankees was on the mound at that moment, and his name was Max Fried. There was no reason to take him out. Unless he's telling you his arm is dead, there is no reason to take him out. And unfortunately, that move backfired for Aaron Boone. You take him out. You bring in Weaver. He goes on and walks Rafaela. He gives up a single to Sogard. But again, this is another thing you got to think about now. Aaron Judge has not been healthy in right field. He's been good enough. He really hasn't been tested to make a serious throw. He's in right field. Sogard hits a ball that goes up the middle, but more towards right field because, whether Chisholm's playing over more for a double play because Sogard's a lefty, whatever the case is, however the defense is structured, the ball goes past Chisholm and Judge has to play it. And Sogard takes the extra base on Judge's throw. It's a huge play. That's a huge play right there. Because rather than first and third, it is now second and third. And Yoshida comes in to hit for Refsnyder. And Weaver, after a walk and a double, basically gives up an identical hit to Yoshida up the middle. and 2-run score. 2 runs. That's the difference right there. If it was a 1-run scoring hit by Yoshida, it could have been still second and third, and then you get Cruz to come in to strike out Story. Bregman walks, okay, fine. Bases are loaded at that point in time, and then Lowe hits a line drive to right field, and Judge catches it. Now, would Judge have been the only person to catch that ball? I don't think so. I think that a faster or a good defensive right fielder would have been able to catch that. Judge is a good defensive right fielder, so I'm not taking that away. But his arm is shot right now. Let's be fair. I know we talked about this on the last podcast with Emmanuel, but I don't trust Aaron Judge's arm. And clearly, neither do the Red Sox, which is why Sogard took that extra base. And that's the difference in the game. It should have been 1-1. Should have been 1-1 going to the bottom of the 7th. But again, the Yankees didn't hit in the 7th. Again, 6 pitches. Bellinger pops out, Stanton grounds out, Rosario grounds out, on 6 combined pitches to Crochet. So he's going to come out for the 8th, which he does. Williams comes in. Narvaez walks. Abreu flies out. Duran flies out, and Rafael flies out. So Williams is productive. He does what you want. This would be a 1-1 game going into the 9th inning. Now, listen, Bednar, is he still going to crap the bed? Sure. But again, like I said earlier, and which is basically the play of the game here, bases are loaded after in the bottom of the 9th when Goldschmidt, Judge, Bellinger go back-to-back base hits off of Aroldis Chapman, and they can't score a run because Stanton strikes out, and Jazz Chisholm, the only guy to make contact in play, pops out to shallow-ish right field. But if it's the tying run at third base and not just the second run, which they're down by 2 runs, so you need Judge to score, who's on second base as well, you're not really going to send Goldschmidt. I think in that spot, if it's a tie, if it's a 1-run lead, if it's 2-1, I think in that spot, in that scenario, you would be sending Paul Goldschmidt and testing it out there. And if he gets thrown out, you tried. But I think you would have been sending him there. And maybe that's a wrong first guess, but I think that's what it would have been. And that's where the game is. It's that second run that I hate to blame Judge on that, but if you may not be able to play Aaron Judge in right field, if they're going to take advantage of that arm. It's the playoffs. People are going to hustle. People are going to run it out. Either that or, no offense, you take out Goldschmidt and get a better base runner. But again, at that point in time, it was still 2 runs that needed to score, so Judge had to score as well. So in the actual game itself, it was a bad scenario. But again, this goes back to there's a lot of small things here, a lot of small bleeds, a lot of small cuts that hurt the Yankees today. And it was all once Max Fried was taken out of the game. That's exactly what we said earlier this morning on the BT and Sal show. We talked about how the fact is it was Max Fried versus Garrett Crochet. Who was going to go longer and deeper? Who was going to have the better pitching line? Max Fried had the better pitching line. Like, you want to break it down. No runs. 6 1/3 innings. He gave up, 3-4 hits? Gave up 3 walks, 6 strikeouts? You think that's the better pitching line. Excuse me, I'm sneezing. Jesus. I apologize for the sneeze. But you think that's a better pitching line, and then you look at Garrett Crochet, and he goes 7 2/3. He gave up that 1 home run. That was it. And that's the difference in the game. You needed to find a way to get Garrett Crochet out sooner. And then even when you did that, you had bases loaded with no outs in the bottom of the 9th inning, and you couldn't score a run. That is incredible. What a devastating loss for the Yankees for Game 1. And that's how these games are going to go. That's how these games are going to go. You saw earlier in the Cleveland and the Tigers game where Jose Ramirez was a tying run at third base, and I forgot who hit the ball, but a little on-contact Ramirez with 1 out. Like I said, this is a very similar scenario. Goldschmidt, if he was a tying run, I think he would have been off and running. Jose Ramirez was running on contact in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they threw him out at home. because the ball lightly got tapped back to the pitcher and they get him out at home or in a rundown or whatever it is. But, like, that's what you do when it's a tie ball game in the bottom of the ninth inning. You've got to send your runners. You've got to send them. And that was their shot, and they failed. And you could blame it on the fact that Max Fried maybe could have gone a little deeper. You could blame it on Luke Weaver, shouldn't have been in the game. You could blame it on Aaron Judge not, being able to throw at a guy at second base because his arm is shot. You could blame it on Bednar for not being able to, pitch a clean inning. And then you can blame it on the bats for not being able to make contact besides Jazz Chisholm with bases loaded. That is a frustrating way to lose the first game of the wild card. But here's the thing. There's a game tomorrow. You don't have to face Garrett Crochet. Your offensive lineup is going to be much different because Jazz is going to start now. You're going to see, McMahon probably in the lineup as well. You're going to have a little bit more versatility. Maybe Ben Rice gets back in the game and maybe he plays first base or whatever the case is. Maybe he's DH. I don't know. Stanton, unfortunately, had a bad game, had a rough game. That's the guy that you always key on in the playoffs is Giancarlo Stanton, but it was kind of a no-show. So that stunk. But listen, 2 more games to go, hopefully for the Yankees. At least one more. You got to win, and now the pressure's on. And now the pressure's on Carlos Rodon, who has had a really good season all year for the New York Yankees. This is obviously his biggest start of the season is right now, and we'll see what happens on Wednesday. Will Carlos Rodon be able to be the best version of himself, or is he going to be that guy that gets hit early and breaks down? That's been his biggest weakness is himself, is that he if he's not happy, if he's not perfect, if he gives up a run early, he seems to break down on the mound. He needs to be his best version, even if he gives up a solo home run to lead the game off. Go 8 deep. You got to go as low as possible. You can't trust the bullpen. That's what it comes down to. These bullpens are so much in flux. It's, if you can't go 8, you're going to leave it to your bullpen, 3 runs. That's what happens when you go to your bullpen. All right, that's another episode of WFAN Daily with Pete Hoffman. I appreciate you. You can follow me at HoffWFAN. I apologize for sneezing earlier, but thank you for watching live with me. I'm going to try to do this every night as well for the Yankee playoffs. At least the 9th inning, go live, and we can watch it together and see how it goes. We have at least one more game to go, and hopefully we'll have more than that. And we'll see how the rest of these playoffs go as well. Maybe we'll do more games, not just the Yankee games. All right, guys. Thank you again at HoffWFN. You could like, subscribe, follow on YouTube. That's where it pops up. You could also just download your podcast wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Odyssey app, which I like, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast, you'll find this WFAN Daily with Pete Hoffman. Thank you again for listening, following, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on another episode of WFAN Daily. See ya.